Hey guys, welcome to the Do It Guy. I made this video to show you how I made a epoxy bathroom floor with a canyon and a waterfalls in it. This is the finished product, and if you like the way it looks like, just keep watching the video and you will see how I get here. So first thing first, I had to mark out the walls, where the walls of the bathroom gonna be. And then I start cutting the concrete because in my head I remembered where the sewage pipe is going in my floor. And you will see how wrong I was. I would just keep breaking, hammering everything, looking for the pipe. I did not find the pipe. So I had to call in some help. Some friends came with some special machine and they actually showed me where the pipe goes. So I had to open up more areas, pick up the carpet temporarily at this area here, because no matter what I did, I could not find the sewage pipe. And my friend with his machine, he located it for me. And there it is. I found it. And now I just had to connect from this pipe into this channel that I cut, because that's where the toilet and the shower are gonna be. And I found the footing for the pillar, so I had to go around that. That was fun. Anyway, a couple hours of cutting and hammering and digging everything. I finally get to where I wanted to be. That's where the shower gonna be, the toilet. It's all gonna connect to the sewage pipe. Of course, everything has to slope. And this area that I cut for no reason, that's gonna be the canyon. I had to make some use of it. Yeah, and my brother is helping me here. We're doing the piping. It's really no biggie. I'm not a plumber, but it's really not a big deal. You just have to make sure that there is a slight slope to it. It's never actually gets leveled. Yeah, I'm just putting the pipes together dry for now, just to dry fitting it to test it. Checking with the level, make sure I have the slope. And yeah, just to make sure that the pipe is not hanging in the air, I have to pull back some gravel, and here we actually covering it back now. We glued everything together. I'm not gonna waste time explaining you how to do that, because it's about this video, it's about the epoxy floor. Here my brother mixing some concrete, because outside of the bathroom I have to make the concrete kind of flat again for the carpet. I'm doing my best with the piece of 2x4. And here now I'm trying to seal the walls of the canyon where I'm gonna put the epoxy with some concrete, making it watertight. And well, it's not gonna work, but I don't know that at this time. This is how it looks like with just concrete, and after it dries, this is how it looks like when it dries. I'm trying to seal with this watertight all the cracks and openings, and that was a waste of money and time. It did not work. So I tried spray foam, as you can see, and spray foam did not really work either. I didn't like the way spray foam was, so I bought this liquid rubber stuff from online that I see it been advertised. They use it on flat roofs and stuff, and on bricks. And I tell you, the advertisement is true. It was not a false advertisement. This thing works. It worked like magic. I did put 2 coats, but this thing was good. It dried, it became rubber, it did not leak. I did go twice around the edge just in case, and it worked flawlessly. It was good. The problem was later on that there was a hole in a concrete in a canyon, and the epoxy leaked out a little bit, but I fixed that too. Here on a bigger openings, I used the mesh that they give me with this special glue. But yeah, it works nice. I went all around, and when I did that, I had to do the waterfalls, and I had to do the waterfalls because that's where my sewage pipe is going from the toilet. As you can see, that's the side of the sewage pipe. I had some silicone caulking on top of it to hold the epoxy so it won't just flow down. I bought these little decorations from Amazon, some rocks and stone looking things. You just have to use your imagination how you want it. Yeah, just place them down, and after, when I was happy with the locations, I used the glue gun just to make sure they're not gonna float on the top and they were secure. And I went to the dollar store and bought these sparklies, and once you use the sparklies, you left with these tiny little metal rods, very easy to bend, but it's rigid enough to hold the waterfall. So I used that from the dollar store. This is how the fall is going to look like. That's what's going to keep the shape of the waterfalls. And as you can see, I even had some silicone on the bottom, make sure everything stays. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be symmetrical, you know, no waterfalls it is. And now I'm using some regular wood paper glue mixed with some water, and I'm using toilet paper. And I'm just soaking the toilet paper, putting one layer on upon the other just to make it a bit thicker, so it's easier to handle. I could have used some paper towel, but I don't know why I went with the toilet paper, but it worked okay. And when it was still wet, I placed it on my waterfalls. And don't worry about the yellowish color, because later I'm gonna paint it. Yeah, just place it on it and dabbing it with the brush a little bit in place, just to make sure it's not flat. You know, you try to make it like uneven. Yeah, try to give a natural look to it. And when it dries, it's actually gonna hold in place. This is how it looks like when it dries. Yeah, it's not bad, but I wasn't happy with this, so I add another layer on top of it. So once I was mixing the deep blue epoxy, that's what I'm putting on the bottom, just to create some feeling of depth. And I put some stones, try to make it look like natural as possible. Yeah, as I poured it there, it just was a thin layer just before I put the clear epoxy on top of it. And I add some green on the top of the waterfalls, because just to have a variety of colors, which was a good idea until it leaked a little bit. Yeah, just to the edge, just a bit, and I was adding more blue. As you can see, everything flowing towards the waterfall, so it's okay. It wasn't that bad. The only thing, it's very time consuming, because every little layer that you do needs days to dry. So you put a little bit, you wait 2 days until it completely dries. And as you can see, it is overflowing on the waterfalls. So now my waterfall is blue and green and yellow, every kind of color. It was floating down, washing the paper, but that's okay. I add more epoxy, more caulking on top of it, and now I'm gonna have a two-step waterfall. More toilet paper soaked in glue. Just have to keep adding it until it works out. And on the edge there, where I'm putting the paper, I'm doing a little ledge that simulates waterfalls hitting the rock and then flowing and falling again, which was okay. I don't think it worth the extra work, but it was okay, because, you know, if you don't do it now, you can't do it later. Just adding more toilet paper, and now this is how it looks like at the end. And just use some regular white paint and just dab it, painted everything just how it should be, and this is how it looks like at the end. And I think that's how I left it. I even put a little bit on a stone, put a little stony edge on the side there. I don't know why. Now the blue epoxy is nice and dry, and I'm gonna do some white wave effects. At least I'm trying around the stones as if the water would really hit it and bounce also off of it. On the side wall, you guys can see on the canyon these gray patches. Yeah, I was trying to plug as many holes as I can see. That was the hardest part, to make it watertight, the walls with concrete. Should have used some clear glue and just brush it everywhere just to seal it. Yeah, just creating some waves with a straw, try to blow on it. And now even on the waterfalls, I add the white one and I'm doing some clear behind it. So when I blow it, yeah, it's gonna give this effect. Should have used a hair dryer, but I was lazy to go upstairs and get one. But I think it turned out to be okay-ish. I was happy with it. Yeah, and this is how I left it alone when it was all done. Yeah, don't worry about all the dust. I'm gonna vacuum it out, because as you move around the dusty concrete, it's just dust gonna go everywhere. And and I decided to put some lights in the canyon, and I had enough light to go all around in the bottom, and I had a lot more left over, so I decided to go on the top as well. So now I have light on top and bottom, and I'm using a glue gun from the dollar store again because I'm cheap. It works. Dollar store stuff works. It heats up the glue gun, and I'm trying to gluing it in place to the edge, and I'm planning to covering it with some stones later. And when I plug it in, this one was, I think, a warm yellowish look. Yeah, this is how it's gonna look like. Again, but that's optional. You can turn it off. You don't have to turn it on all the time. I made it that it's always gonna come on. And now that I was happy with all the deep blue stuff and the lights, I'm gonna pour some crystal clear deep poured epoxy. This one you can pour up to 4-inch deep. Yeah. So, and later on I even added a little boat. I found a boat in a keychain somewhere, and I put it on top of the waterfalls there. Here I'm using a laser level just to see where the height for the epoxy will be for the floor, just to make sure when I lay down the stones they won't stick up too high. So this is too high, this would stick out of the epoxy, so I have to make sure nothing is above the green light, the green line. Yeah, this is a very good way to make sure that everything gonna stay under the epoxy. Here I'm just spraying the concrete floor just to, again, make sure that no gray concrete gonna show through between the stones. I'm using some fake grass that I bought from Amazon and some stones that I dig up from this canyon. I'm putting it back. I bought some bigger stones that you can see on the edge from the local aquarium store, from the fish store. I'm using those on the edge to cover the light as much as I can. And as I was going spraying, I was even spraying some on the blue canyon, which I had to sand and clear later, but this is how it looks like. I think I left it at this point now. Some areas, because of my concrete floor was uneven, was not really giving me enough depth for the epoxy floor. I bought these little shiny stones too from the fish store, and I'm using it to cover them with some tin foil, some gold tin foil, and I'm making as a gold river kind of idea and some gold rocks on the edge. but I wasn't really happy with the color, and so I'm using a gold tin foil on this area on it, just to have this gold idea. I don't know why I put the gold in there. Everybody was telling me not to do it. I was stubborn and I wanted to do it anyway. I like it. Not everybody like it. Not everybody likes it, but I do. So here I'm putting more clear epoxy. I just did it in portions because I had to continuously check for leaks. Because if I would pour everything at once and it's leaking somewhere, then I would waste a lot of epoxy. But anyway, it turned out okay. This is the final finished product. I think it's okay. This was the first time I was doing this, and I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching.